Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission here, well, it's pretty simple. We take the stack of knowledge you give us, pull out the absolute best bits, and basically give you the quickest way to get really well informed on something.
That's the goal. Fast track to informed.
And today, wow, we are diving deep into a career path that's so twisty, so full of seeming contradictions. If you just read the profile cold, you'd swear it's talking about three different guys.
Definitely has that feel.
We're looking at the really surprising journey of Sam Tallent. He's an American stand-up comedian, sure, but also internationally published author, and now, get this, a global documentary producer.
Right.
We've got this highly curated, pretty comprehensive source doc detailing his career over decades. And the thing is, every step along the way from his early life, which is kind of odd, to his big successes recently seems to, fight with the other parts.
And that's what really stands out in kind of our mission today, is digging into that duality.
Exactly.
I mean, here's someone who was good enough at football to be all-state in high school.
Offensive lineman, yeah.
Right. And then, not long after, he spends this really formative time living in an anarchist compound.
An anarchist compound.
Yeah. And then, years down the line, he finishes a university degree in public address and rhetoric. These things just don't seem to line up, you know?
They really don't.
So, we need to connect those dots. How does someone manage to pull all that together, this really diverse background, and actually succeed across stand-up and traditional book publishing and making digital media? We got to find the thread, the thing that ties it all together.
Yeah, that's the core tension we're going to unpack for you. This isn't just like a comedian's life story. It's more a study in how creative entrepreneurship changes over time. And when you look at the kinds of comedy he does, black comedy, blue humor, surrealism, and that key one, anti-humor.
Right. The anti-humor is crucial.
And you think, okay, maybe the roots of that skepticism, that desire to break things down, maybe it traces back to living in an actual anarchist commune. Well, then, you're dealing with a mind that really thrives on messing with structure.
Totally. Okay, so let's get into it. Start at the beginning.
Let's do it, laying the foundation.
Okay, so to really get the, let's say, sophisticated chaos of Tallent's humor, got to start at the roots. He was born Sam Tallent, May 2nd, 1987.
Okay.
Rooted in Elizabeth, Colorado. And that Colorado background, that gives him a specific kind of flavor, that perspective you often find in comics who didn't come up through the usual NYC or LA scenes.
Right, a different starting point. He's 38 now as of 2025.
Yeah, but his story, it's got these twists that really redefine who he is professionally at different times.
That Colorado grounding is definitely a part of it. But like you said, the duality kicks in almost right away. Before comedy, before the books, the sources show this background that seems almost designed not to lead to being an artist who, tears down norms.
It's pretty wild.
Let's start with high school. This guy was a serious athlete, all-state football team, offensive lineman, graduated in 2005.
And that position, offensive lineman, that's fascinating when you think about it later. Well, it demands incredible discipline, right? Physical power, sure. But also, you have to stick rigidly to this complex system. You're part of a unit, 5 guys working together perfectly. Chaos is failure.
Okay, yeah, very structured.
Those are qualities you just don't usually link with, like the spontaneous, sometimes destructive vibe of black comedy.
Not at all.
But it shows you, early on, this is someone capable of intense focus and dedication, even if he later pointed that discipline in a completely different direction.
But hang on, doesn't that discipline just completely clash with the, the chaos of punk rock and anarchy?
Exactly.
Because right after high school, we see this immediate pivot. He's playing drums in a band called R.D. Best Black.
Great name. Suggests conflict.
Yeah, political tension maybe. And drums, that's all energy, rhythm, raw power, totally different feel from the controlled force of blocking someone.
You absolutely nailed the core contradiction there. Going from disciplined lineman to chaotic punk drummer, that's like the preview for the kind of artistic blend he creates later. But the real aha moment, the thing you flagged earlier, that's the absolute key to his worldview, I think.
The anarchist compound.
Yep. 2007, 2008. He wasn't in college, wasn't touring yet. He was living in an anarchist compound in Ithaca, New York.
That is just a massive detour from football star.
Huge.
So this compound experience, a place that's fundamentally skeptical of systems, hierarchies, authority, it seems like the perfect breeding ground for certain kinds of comedy, right? How does that skepticism show up on stage?
Oh, it translates directly into how he structures things, or maybe how he doesn't structure them.
Okay.
Anarchy is about rebelling against structure, right? Anti-humor is comedic rebellion against structure. Black comedy laughs at the dark stuff, often mocks the taboos that systems try to enforce.
Makes sense.
And anti-humor, crucially, often pulls the rug out from under the joke itself. It messes with what the audience expects. Living in that compound, it probably teaches you to question the premise of everything, including the premise of a standard set-up punchline joke.
Ah, okay. So it gives him the philosophical backing to just dismantle normal comedy formats.
Exactly. He's got the license, the perspective, the framework to rebel against the established rules of getting a laugh. It's structural rebellion on stage.
So he gets this anti-establishment vibe, the raw punk energy, and then much later circles back to formal education. That seems like another weird turn.
It is, but maybe the most professional turn. Despite starting stand-up around 2008, he doesn't graduate until 2022 from Metropolitan State University of Denver.
Wow, much later. And what was the degree?
Public address and rhetoric. Now think about that.
Rhetoric, the art of persuasion.
Right. Analyzing arguments, structuring public speaking. It's the art of controlled communication.
So for a comedian who deals in chaos, noise, anti-humor, studying the precise mechanics of persuasion, that sounds like a secret weapon.
Doesn't it? I think it absolutely is. It's the formal training that lets him build the complex emotional journey of a novel like Running the Light, or craft a tight hour-long story for a comedy special, even if parts of that special feel chaotic. It gives him control over the tension.
Okay.
For a touring comedian, and especially an author, knowing rhetoric sharpens your ability to connect with an audience, knowing exactly what tools you're using, even if you're using them to deliberately frustrate the audience sometimes.
So it's like the ultimate combination. Anarchy provides the what, rhetoric provides the how.
That's a great way to put it, yeah.
And just to round out the bio stuff, currently he's married to Dr. Emily Tallent, and they live in Detroit, Michigan.
Which is interesting too, right? Moving to Detroit suggests he's still looking for new environments, new stories, outside the usual Lanny comedy hubs. That'll probably feed into his future writing.
Good point. Okay, so that sets up the foundation. Let's talk about the stage work itself.
Right, so that foundation discipline, rebellion, academic structure, it all feeds into what he does on stage now. Since about 2008, he's carved out this really distinct and honestly pretty demanding comedy identity.
Yeah, the source lists his genres: black comedy, blue humor, surreal humor, and anti-humor. That is quite a mix.
Not your standard toolkit, that's for sure.
Let's unpack that blend a bit, because it sounds like a tough act to pull off. You've got black comedy, sharp, maybe morbid social commentary. Blue humor, that's the raunchy stuff, right? Adult, maybe dirty jokes.
Yep, straightforward R-rated material.
Surreal humor is just weirdness, illogical stuff.
Pure absurdity, yeah. Breaking logic.
And then anti-humor, the intellectual structure-breaking stuff we talked about. How does he possibly combine, like, the raw vulgarity of blue humor with the brainy meta aspect of anti-humor without just confusing everyone?
Well, that's where the tactical genius comes in, I think. That combination creates this deliberate volatility, unease.
Okay.
The blue humor gives you that immediate gut-level laugh. It's the hook, keeps the energy up. But then the black and anti-humor elements mean the audience can never get comfortable. You're laughing at something vulgar 1 second, and the next you're being challenged by something dark or frustrated because the joke didn't land where you expected it to.
So he's making the audience jump between gut reaction and, like, critical thinking.
Exactly. All within one set. It shows he's incredibly comfortable playing with boundaries, dissolving them even.
And you can see this challenging style in his recorded stuff. His first special, Waiting for Death to Claim Us, that was on Amazon Prime.
Which was smart, put his specific brand out there broadly early on.
And then more recently, December 2023, he performed The Toad's Morale. So he's clearly still developing this stuff.
Oh, you have to with this kind of comedy.
Yeah.
It needs constant refinement. And he's been refining it literally all over the world.
Yeah, the touring schedule since 2010 sounds insane. 4 continents.
North America, Asia, Australia, Europe.
Yeah, relentless.
And that global reach, it's not just that demand, it's like a trial by fire.
Explain that. Why is touring internationally so key for his kind of comedy development?
Because it forces you to adapt constantly. When you're doing black comedy and anti-humor, you're often bumping up against very specific cultural norms, taboos, what people expect from a joke.
Right. What's funny or shocking here might be offensive or just baffling somewhere else.
Precisely. So to make that high-wire act work in Tokyo or Paris or Sydney, you have to figure out how to apply that same satirical lens, that same boundary pushing, but tweak it for local sensibilities. without losing your core voice.
So it sharpens the act under all sorts of different pressures.
Makes it universally potent, even though it might have started with a Colorado perspective.
And the industry seems to recognize that skill. He got named one of the new faces at Just for Laughs in Montreal back in 2019. That's a big deal, right?
Huge deal. JFL Montreal is where everyone scouts talent agents, casting people, network execs. New faces means the industry sees your challenging style as actually viable, ready for bigger things. Plus, he plays festivals known for pushing boundaries, like Skankfest, Black Hills, SXSW comedy. That shows respect from his peers, the comics who know how hard it is to do what he does.
He also popped up on TV a bit, which can be tricky for comics who aren't doing mainstream stuff. The Chris Gethard Show, Viceland's Flophouse.
Yeah, and notice the platforms. Both Gethard's Show and Flophouse were known for featuring alternative, sometimes kind of chaotic, artist-driven comedy.
Good point. He wasn't trying to fit into a network sitcom mold.
Exactly. He found the niches that celebrate the non-traditional. It all reinforces this idea. The stage is his lab, where the anarchist past and the rhetoric degree smash together to make something unique, but somehow also marketable.
Okay, so the stage is one huge pillar, but then there's this other massive pivot into writing. This, for me, might be the most surprising turn. While his stand-up is blowing up globally, Tallent makes this serious move into literature. Not just joke books, but like serious literature. A lot of comedians try that. Not many really stick the landing.
Right.
It starts with his debut novel, Running the Light, published May 2020.
And this is where you see the full creative entrepreneur emerge. He used that counterculture mindset, that discipline we talked about.
How so?
He didn't wait for permission from the big publishing houses. He didn't query agents for years. He initially published Running the Light himself, through his own outfit, called Too Big to Fail Press.
Too Big to Fail Press, that name alone.
It's brilliant, isn't it? Kind of defiant, satirical.
But what was the strategy there? Just impatience? Or something smarter?
Oh, I think it was very smart. It was a calculated risk that paid off big time. The traditional publishing world. They can be pretty skeptical about comedians writing serious novels. Sometimes they treat it like a gimmick.
Right, like a celebrity cash-in.
Exactly. By self-publishing first, Tallent kept total creative control. But more importantly, he proved there was a market for it. On his own terms. He showed that people were hungry for this dark, complex story.
So he built leverage.
Massive leverage, which let him negotiate from strengths later on.
And the proof that the book had real literary merit came pretty quickly, right? The audiobook rights sold at auction in 2021.
Yep. An auction means multiple big players were fighting for it. That signals they saw real commercial and literary value even before a major publisher was involved.
Wow.
And then, get this, the comic book writer Garth Ennis wrote the screenplay based on the book.
Garth Ennis, like Preacher and the Boys, Garth Ennis.
That Garth Ennis, known for super dark, gritty, morally complex stuff, his involvement basically screamed, this isn't a comedy book. This is serious, dark, thematic storytelling. It gave it instant credibility in that world.
Okay, so that indie success, the audiobook deal, the Ennis connection,
Yeah.
that all sets up the really big news.
The mainstream breakthrough.
In 2024, he signs a deal with Random House. Like, the Random House.
Publishing giant. Yeah.
They're going to publish Running the Light worldwide, and they've signed him for further literary works.
That's the literary equivalent of getting drafted into the majors. Going from self-published success to a Random House deal. That's huge validation. It proves his writing stands entirely on its own, separate from his comedy. For the creative entrepreneur angle, it's textbook. Use your own hustle to prove yourself, then make the establishment come to you.
He forced them to recognize his vision.
Pretty much.
And the reach is growing fast. The source mentioned that super recently, June 18th, 2025, the book came out in Spanish, Sin Supervivientes.
Which translates to Without Survivors.
Oof. Yeah, that title definitely leans into the darkness.
Doesn't it? It reinforces that bleak philosophical core for a whole new global audience. Shows the book's themes resonate way beyond just English-speaking comedy fans.
And he's also playing the field smartly with formats. He did a novella, Attaboy, in 2022, but as an Audible original.
Yeah, that's savvy. It shows he gets how people consume media now.
Right.
Use Audible for shorter, maybe more immediate fiction. Tap into that huge audio market. Keep the big, ambitious novel for the prestige and distribution muscle of Random House. He's meeting the audience wherever they are. Physical book, ebook, headphones.
Smart. Okay, so stage presence, literary success. What's the third pillar?
The digital world. Podcasting specifically is like the engine room of modern comedy, right?
Absolutely. It's where careers are built and maintained now.
And Tallent has really solidified his place there, both as a host and maybe even more importantly, as a guest everyone wants to have on.
Right. He co-hosts the Chubby Behemoth podcast with his longtime friend Nathan Lund.
Yep, that's his home base. Keeps him connected to the core fans, lets him workshop ideas week after week.
But that guest appearance list. Wow, it's basically a who's who of major podcasts.
It really is. And we shouldn't just read the list. We should think about what it means.
Okay. The list includes Joe Rogan Experience, Mark Maron's WTF, Kill Tony, The Adam Friedland Show, Dr. Drew After Dark, Tim Dillon's podcast, Barstool's Son of a Boy Dad, The Danny Brown Show. It's incredibly diverse.
That's the key word, diversity. Think about the different versions of Sam Tallent required for those shows.
What do you mean?
Going on WTF with Mark Maron, that requires deep introspection. Right. Vulnerability, serious talk about the craft, the road life. It's about the person behind the jokes.
Okay, yeah. Very different from, say, Joe Rogan.
Totally. Rogan demands endurance, the ability to talk about anything and everything for hours, connect with a massive, broad audience.
And then you've got the real pressure cookers, like Kill Tony. That's often aggressive, needs super fast improv skill.
Right. Or Tim Dillon's show, which is known for just intense satire, often really aggressive political takes.
So being able to navigate all those different rooms.
It proves incredible adaptability. That's the skill of the multi-hyphenate artist. He can shift from the thoughtful, literary guy for Maron to the quick-witted, maybe combative comic needed for Kill Tony. Being on all those shows proves he's recognized not just for jokes, but for his, I don't know, intellectual range, his ability to just talk and be interesting across different contexts. He's become a central voice.
Okay, that makes sense. But the latest evolution in his digital world takes him way outside the podcast studio.
Yeah, this new project sounds amazing. Since February 2024, he's been doing this comedic travel documentary series, Sam Tallent's Wide World.
Which sounds like maybe the ultimate synthesis of everything he does.
It really could be. It pulls together his global touring experience, his writing skills. He probably learned a ton writing the novel, his directing chops, and that unique satirical voice.
And he's doing basically everything on it. Writes, directs, narrates, co-hosts.
Total creative control.
Oh.
Which means he can inject his specific brand, the black humor, the surrealism, the anti-humor, directly into how you see these places.
And he brought his friends along. Nathan Lund, Patrick Richardson, David Attaboy, Jacob Becker.
Smart move. Using his regular collaborators ensures that chemistry is real. It turns it from just one guy's travel show into more of a collective satirical mission.
Yeah. The source says it offers humorous and satirical takes on local cultures and attractions.
So he's applying that skeptical, absurd, dark comedic lens to tourism itself. Travel becomes this ongoing, real-world exercise in anti-humor.
And the places they go show that global scope. Tokyo, Yokohama, Paris, Rome, Key West, New Zealand, but also Eastern Colorado.
And that last one, bringing it back home, that's crucial.
Oh.
It shows he's applying the same critical, satirical eye to his own roots. He's not just some tourist making fun of other cultures. He's using the global perspective to satirize everything, including himself and where he came from.
Ah, interesting.
It makes his whole creative output feel connected. The stand-up, the books, the travel show, they're all fed by his actual lived experiences. It's all one integrated world.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So let's try and tie all these threads together. The influences, the synthesis. We basically established that Tallent's career is this chaotic but somehow calculated mix of different skills and experiences. So now maybe we can finally connect those dots we talked about earlier.
Right.
Align the contradictions, the football player, the anarchist drummer, with the artists who actually inspired him. Because it feels like his work is built on some very specific, chosen influences.
Oh, yeah. The list in the source doc, it's like a perfect little map of his artistic DNA. You see this blend of like high-energy punk, really dark literature, and super smart comedy.
Okay, let's start with the music. Lightning Bolt and Minutemen. What do they tell us?
Okay. Lightning Bolt, they're known for this intense, kind of overwhelming noise rock, just pure, frantic energy.
Visceral stuff.
Totally. Minutemen, though, they were also punk, but super eclectic. Short, sharp songs, very political sometimes, constantly messing with genres.
So energy and disruption.
Yeah, that combination suggests he wants energy, speed, maybe disruption in his performance.
Yeah.
That feeds right into the pacing of surreal comedy, or the kind of aggressive energy you sometimes need for black humor. It's like the soundtrack to his anarchist phase, demands a certain stage presence.
Okay, makes sense. But then the vibe shifts completely with his literary heroes.
Yeah.
Dennis Johnson and Cormac McCarthy, these are not light reads.
Not even close. Johnson and McCarthy are absolute giants of American fiction, known for staring right into the abyss, moral ambiguity, loneliness, violence, people living on the edges.
Yeah, The Road, Blood Meridian, bleak stuff.
Exactly. Johnson often writes about characters desperately seeking redemption in really dark circumstances. McCarthy gives you this brutal, almost philosophical realism that strips everything down.
So that connection explains the darkness in Running the Light.
Absolutely. It takes the darkness you find in black comedy and gives it real literary weight, serious philosophical questions.
Okay, punk energy, dark literature, and then the comedic anchor, Norm Macdonald.
Norm. The godfather of modern anti-humor, really. Dry wit, philosophical tangents, comedy that works on a meta level.
He was famous for those long, shaggy dog stories that deliberately frustrated you.
Right. He generated tension by not meeting expectations. He made you laugh because the joke failed in the traditional sense, or in spite of it. That lines up perfectly with Tallent choosing anti-humor as one of his main genres.
So Norm provides the intellectual framework.
Yeah, it's the framework that lets him take McCarthy's darkness and Lightning Bolt's chaos and shape it into a coherent comedic approach on stage.
Okay, so pulling it all together for you, the listener, what we're seeing is a writer and performer whose work is built on this weird mix of punk chaos, the moral weight of dark literature, and the intellectual game playing of anti-humor. And he has the rhetoric degree to structure it, the lineman's discipline to get the work done, and the anarchist drummer's worldview to give him something to say.
He really does embody that 21st century multi-platform creative pro. He didn't just find a niche. He built this superhighway where all his different seemingly clashing skills and experiences could merge.
Yeah.
Offensive lineman to anarchist drummer to indie publisher who basically forced the big leagues to notice him.
Yeah.
To Random House author who's also making global digital content. It's just a perfect case study in how to use every contradiction in your background to build a unique, adaptable, and highly marketable creative voice.
The sheer range proves that embracing those contradictions is actually the key.
It's the path to adaptability, absolutely. Hashtag outro.
Okay, so wrapping up this deep dive, it seems pretty clear Sam Tallent's career rests on these three big connected pillars, right?
Yeah.
First, mastery of stand-up, defined by those really boundary-pushing genres.
Sure.
Second, real literary credibility, proven by the Random House deal, the international translation happening so fast.
Validated.
And third, modern digital media production, the successful podcasting, both hosting and guesting, and now this multi-role travel documentary series.
Oh, wow, package.
So the big takeaway for you listening, I think, is just the sheer value of synthesis.
Couldn't agree more. Tallent's success really shows that the creative voices that last, often they're the ones pulling from the widest, sometimes most unexpected range of experiences.
Right.
His career is just proof that, being an athlete, living in an anarchist compound, getting a formal rhetoric degree, loving dark humor somehow, all that can be combined into something successful, adaptable, and artistically challenging.
It's a pretty inspiring story of creative grit and smart strategy, too. But it does leave us with one final, kind of intriguing question based on the latest info we have from the sources.
Where does he go next?
Exactly. We know he just finished that rhetoric degree fairly recently, 2022, so he's maybe thinking more deeply about persuasive structure. And he's now living in Detroit, Michigan, a city with such a specific, complex history, resilience, industry, decline, rebirth.
Powerful setting.
So Running the Light tackled the dark side of the touring comic life. Now that he's got this formal rhetorical training and he's based in a place like Detroit, what does that mean for the further literary works Random House promised us?
Right. What kind of themes, what kind of settings will this new perspective, academic and geographic, bring to his next novel?
Where does the writer who gave us Sin Supervivientes Without Survivors take us next with a maybe more structurally deliberate but still brutally honest story?
That is the fascinating next chapter we're all waiting for him to write.